Thank you both. Dan, thank you for serving in the role you're serving, and your great counsel, the President General, thank you for your service. Let's see if I can sort of go over some highlights here. North Korea, is it still the policy of the United States to deny the North Korean regime the ability to hit America with a nuclear-tipped ICBM?
Absolutely.
Is that true, General? You agree with that?
Yes, sir.
All right. Denial, then, is different than containment. We've rejected the idea of giving them the capability and trying to contain it. Is that true, Senator Coates?
Yes.
And the reason is, if they get a bunch of capability, they're likely to sell it or share it. We've seen a history of that. Is that accurate?
Yes, we have.
Okay. Let's move to, and to follow that concept through, as a last resort, military action is on the table.
It is on the table.
Okay. Iran. When it comes to the Iranian involvement in Syria, aligned with Russia, do you believe we have a sufficient strategy to contain the Russian-Iranian threat in Syria?
We certainly are working on one, and it is of constant discussion in terms of how we see that problem. It clearly is a major issue that needs to be addressed.
Okay. Well, I want to congratulate you on the fight against ISIS. I think you've done a great job, and the results are on the ground. But the sooner you could come up with a counter-Iran strategy in Syria and other places, the better. I just got back from a trip to Israel. I was informed by the IDF that basically there are thousands of missiles and rockets in southern Lebanon pointed at Israel. Do you have any reason to doubt that in the hands of Hezbollah?
No reason to doubt that. And in response to your previous question, there is a strategy in place relative to the Iranian engagements throughout this very difficult part of the world and what Iran has been doing.
Maybe in a different setting we can talk about
I'd
that.
be happy to do that.
Because I'll just be honest with you, Director Coates, I got back from Israel and Jordan is not bearing fruit. Do you agree with the idea that the United Nations Interim Force Lebanon has failed when it comes to protecting Israel's interest in southern Lebanon?
I would agree with that.
You agree with that, General Ashley?
Sir, I don't think that's my place to make that assessment.
Okay, fair enough. So Israel told us, our delegation, they need more ammunition and backing from the United States if they have to go into southern Lebanon, because the Hezbollah rockets and missiles are integrated within apartment complexes, schools, and hospitals. They have made civilian targets in play. Hezbollah has. Does that make sense to you? Can you confirm that?
Given the sources of it, obviously we'd like to talk about that in detail in a closed session.
Right.
But yes, publicly that has been pretty clear.
Well, I just want to let the committee know it's just a matter of time before Israel has to act. They're actually making precision-guided weapons inside of southern Lebanon. Hezbollah is, and they couldn't do it without Iran. The Iranian nuclear agreement, is it still the policy of the president that we need a better deal with Iran?
Yes, it is.
And one of the concerns of the current deal is the sunset clause.
That is correct.
Under the sunset clause, the mere passage of time, Iran can enrich and reprocess without limitation. Is that correct?
I believe that's correct.
And General Ashley, and I think the policy of the United States is that anytime they get within a year breakout, we should reimpose sanctions. Do you understand that to be the president's position?
I understand at the point they can start to enrich beyond 3.67 that it would take about a year to put a weapon together.
Well, I totally support the president's belief that we need a better deal, replacing the sunset clause with something better. Do you agree with me, Director Coates, that if the Arabs are going to just assume Iran gets a nuclear weapon over time unless something changes under the current agreement?
I think that's a reasonable assumption.
Yeah, that's what they've told me, is that they're going to respond in kind. As to Russia's interference in our election, I have legislation with Senator Gillibrand that sets up a 9/11 style commission to look forward, where people from the private sector can come forward to give us recommendations about how to harden our infrastructure regarding the 2018 election. Can I send that to you, and would you give me some feedback if you could support
I'd be
that?
happy to do that.
General? So how likely is it the 2018 election is going to be compromised by Russia?
We have not seen evidence of a robust effort yet on the part of Russia, but we know their malign activities continue to exist.
If the past is any indication of the future, is highly likely. Would you agree with that?
It's highly likely that they will be doing something. We just don't know how much and when, where.
Do you agree with that, General?
Senator, I agree.
Okay. We have a policy of mutual assured destruction. If we're attacked by nuclear weapons, we will wipe out the country who attacked us. Do we have anything like that in the cyber arena?
Not to my knowledge.
Do you think we'd be well served to let countries know you attack America through cyberspace at your own peril?
Well, I think that message has already been delivered, but if it hasn't, it needs to be.
Thank you both for the job you're doing for our country.
Thanks, sir.